Hello, Mormon Enlightenment. How are you? It's good to be with you.
Hi everyone, we just wanted to share a little bit about what's been on our minds lately, and Sean has been really, I think both of us have kind of been shifting our approach or kind of evolving into this new space where we really are wanting to go about change in a much different way.
Looking back, it's interesting, looking back, I can see that where we were operating from. Again, that's been one of the most enlightening things. I like that word, enlightenment.
Yeah.
It's been enlightening to see our own journey and to look back on what we've experienced and how we felt. And that's been one of the coolest things about video documenting our process, and then also,
On
the podcast. Yeah, because you can actually, there's this saying that's really sticking for me lately, which is what you can measure, you can improve.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been able to measure our progress, our frequency.
I've actually been going back to the beginning podcast because I've been sending out the Mormon Enlightenment newsletter and just kind of bunching certain stages of our process in different with the different podcast episodes. And so it is interesting because I have recently gone back to the beginning, the first few episodes, and it is fun to see the progress and where we were. And I remember feeling so emotional and so scared, like to do that first podcast episode where we decided to tell everybody that we left the church. And I just remember how scared I was, and I love to see that how I've evolved in that area, because I don't have that fear when if I do want to share anything on social media. I'm not like, oh my gosh, what's people gonna say, and all the comments and everything. And I was so nervous about that, but now I'm just in a really good place where I just share what I want to share, and I don't have that fear that, oh no, what are people gonna say to me now?
Yeah. And same here.
Mm-hmm.
The reservations around what do people think of me. I felt that a lot. I felt that a lot in my business, and I felt that a lot in my, in my community. I felt a lot like, I guess I never thought I don't fit in. I never made that definitive label or anything on myself, but in hindsight, I can see that I just really didn't fit in very well. And it wasn't everyone else's fault. It wasn't, there's people that really do love being in the church. It's hard to comprehend when you've never felt that, you see. I suppose it would be no different than, I really don't know what it's like to be attracted to men. That doesn't mean that other people can't, other men can't be attracted to men. I just can't make that connection, and that doesn't mean that I'm right or wrong or anything else.
Mm-hmm.
We get into hard territory when we start talking about truth, don't we? We get into some pretty sticky areas when we start talking about, is it hurting people? Did I choose to be hurt by my experience in the church? And I think some people would view that as, yes, that was a choice you made. You chose to allow yourself to get hurt, or you chose to stay in the church. I really want to talk about unifying, because this is what's been on my heart and my mind lately. I would always say to myself, well, I didn't choose this. I didn't choose this. This chose me. I didn't choose to be born in Utah, of all places. You think I chose it? I didn't choose to be born to parents that were going to, put me in the Mormon church and then, basically, make it somewhat of an expectation for me that I would conform and be in the church and go on a mission. I don't feel like I chose that. And so that's where it gets a little dicey, because you will have people say, well, you chose that. You will have people say you could have chose otherwise. And then Crystal and I have always felt like that is so unfair.
Yeah.
That is so unfair to say that anyone that is born in Utah or in a really predominantly Mormon family, Mormon community, it's really, really not cool to say, well, you could have left. You had a choice. You could have chose. There's real significant depth there. Now, if we want to be unifiers, we have to look at it the other way, which is we want people to respect the fact that we felt like we didn't have a choice. We want people to have some respect for how hard it's been for us and how hard the process has been, right? Mm-hmm. Well, we also have to respect that there are other people that feel stuck. And guess what? They don't even realize they feel stuck. That's their reality is what they're living. Their reality is they go to church every Sunday for 3 hours. Their reality is they serve. 2 hours now. Their reality is they serve in those callings. Their reality is that, if they're going to do good, it's within that church framework. And if they're going to donate money, it's within that church framework. Well, you can judge that, but, I really think we need to get to a better state, a better place around how we view all of this. Not everybody that is in the church, they don't realize that they're making choices. If that makes sense. It's not like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's
not like they don't feel like they're choosing anything. It's just what is. Mm-hmm. So with that in mind, one person in particular has just brought this to my recollection. This one person, I was saying bad things about the church early on, and this one person, she came to the defense of the church. She came to the defense. She says, hey, you're hurting me. When you say that, you're hurting me. When you talk bad about my prophet, that hurts me. When you talk, when you are disrespectful of Jesus, it hurts me. And that's her reality. She's not making that up. Like, does she have a right to be hurt? Should she be hurt? Should she take that on? It just doesn't really matter. Bottom line is, that's her reality, and it caused a division between her and I. And so our relationship was nullified. I blocked her. I just removed her. And this is a person that it's crazy because I care about her and I know she cares about me deeply. And yet we allowed stuff to get in between, and I absolutely take responsibility for that. I was on the aggressive. I was on, I was in a place of destruction. I was in a place of, I want to, bring people out. I want to expose it. I want to destroy. I'm just being honest about where I was. Has my view of the church changed? Do I think that the church is like this great thing? I struggle with this because I am like really ultra caught up on integrity. So I'm really stuck on truth. And I don't know if I'll evolve beyond that. Maybe I will. That's the interesting thing about looking back, isn't it? Mm-hmm. You look back, when you were in high school, you look back and you go, I can't believe I thought that way. Mm-hmm. And then, you look back and when you first got married and you're like, I can't believe I operated that way, or I thought that way, or that was my programming. I can't believe it. Yeah. And, maybe in 2 years from now or 5 years from now, I'll look back and I'll go, man, I can't believe I was still stuck on what is or what isn't true. Mm-hmm. And, it's tough.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the biggest realizations for us is, you can still be a voice for change, but it has to be coming from a place of inner peace. Like it cannot be fueled by so much pain, anger, emotion, because it's not going to have the effect that you're hoping for. And so as we're learning to work through our own pain and anger around it, we're realizing that, you can still be a voice for change in a loving way, because if you can get into a, work on your own self healing, then you can start operating from a place of love and not anger. And I think we were feeling a lot of anger and feeling like, well, this is fueling our cause, to change, to make some changes. But you can still have fuel and a good cause to help people, but it has to be coming from a place of like, you've worked through all of your stuff, and once you're feeling that confidence and inner peace, then you can still speak up about what you really believe. But I think it just comes out in a much more effective way, a much more loving way, where it doesn't feel so much like you're attacking. And one thing that I've been really grateful for as we've worked through a lot of our own pain, we are seeing ourselves becoming more unified with Mormons. We're reconnecting with Mormons, friends, business partners, and even for me, this was like a realization for me that as I've, been working through my own stuff and kind of I'm using what I'm expressing has a much more positive effect than destruction like it was in the beginning. And I didn't realize that there were actually Mormons that were still following me and reading my stuff and appreciating what I was saying. I was like, what? I didn't know that I could still have that relationship or connection with these people. And I just found out I have 2 Mormons in my coaching program, and I am just blown away with that, because I didn't think that they would ever be able to have respect for me anymore or would ever want to listen to me. But they are actually good examples for me to realize that they still fully believe in their religion, but they can still appreciate what I'm trying to express and appreciate my journey, my perspective, but not feel like it's attacking what they hold dear to their heart. So they've actually been the best examples for me to see that they've still stuck with me all this time, and they didn't take it personally what I've been expressing. They just saw it as, that's her journey, that's her experience in the church, but it doesn't have to mean anything about mine. Like, they can still hold on to their beliefs, and so it goes both ways. Like, we can still hold on to our beliefs about the church and not have this anger towards people that are still believing in it.
Yeah, totally. So those gals are a good example, and and that probably says a lot about you, Crystal, because had you done anything that was irreparable, then maybe you wouldn't. Same with both of us. I don't think we did anything that was irreparable, but did we say some things that are, in hindsight, that are highly offensive? Yeah, we did. We said some things that are highly offensive. Part of it was just like, how you have like teenagers and they get off on their own and they just do stupid stuff because they're like, I'm free and I get to do what I want to do and say what I want to say, and they say things that are unnecessary, do things that are over the top. I feel like we did some of that, which is fine. I mean, it's part of our progression. But I don't want to be offensive moving forward. I had a little experience. Right now, the country, if anything, we've learned that the country is unbelievably divided, and that's one of the the consequences that we have as a result of our freedoms. You're going to have differences of opinion, and it gets really ugly on both sides of the political side, debate. But the bottom line is, what's interesting, like in Mormon Enlightenment, we don't have to talk politics, and we can all get along. We can all support each other. We can all cheer each other on. It's really interesting if you think about it. There's Democrats in here. There's independents. There's Republicans. And does it really matter in this context? It doesn't really matter, does it? But you put it in. I had one person reach out to me on direct on social media and ask me, who are you voting for? I told them, and their response was, well, I don't think we could be friends then. And I said, what? What are you talking about? And this guy from Chicago, he says, if anybody would vote that way, then guess what? That means that I don't know you, and you're not what I thought you were. You know, that's ugly.
Yeah.
That's ugly, because when you've got a choice between two different sides and you're trying to weigh what's best for you or your family or whatever, you know, that's just ugly that it can get that intolerant. That's gross. Mm-hmm. And we don't want to be that with Mormons. I don't want to be. Like, so many of my dearest friends are Mormon. My family's all Mormon. But I want respect. I do want respect, and that's what this whole cause has been all about, is we can demand respect, and we can stand tall, and we can make it safe for other people to leave, and I still believe in all of that. But you can do it in a way where you can maintain your dignity. Mm-hmm. You can do it in a way where you can actually gain respect instead of lose respect. Mm-hmm. And you can be a unifier. You really can be a unifier. We talk about Jesus' teachings a lot. And I just want to say that, you know, there's a lot of people in the group that still believe in Jesus, and there's a lot of people in the group that go atheist. There's a lot of people in the group that they resent everything and anything that ever had anything to do with religion. I know, I've been there, I feel that. But you don't have to assign all good things to Jesus on either side. Like, it drives me crazy when people assign anything good, oh yeah, Jesus gets credit for that. Jesus is the one that taught us, you know, to serve others. It's like, did he? It was all Jesus? Like, Jesus is the one that's responsible for that? Really? There wasn't people on earth before Jesus doing good things? Realizing it feels good to do good for other people? So we always assign this meaning to Jesus. Well, you don't have to do that. On either side, you just don't have to be that way. You can just do good because it feels good. You can be a good person because you want to be a good person. Those are the types that I have the hardest time with, Crystal can tell you, is the Jesus thumpers. Yeah. Because in my experience, they're some of the most intolerant people I've ever met in my life. And for some reason, they justify their intolerance because they're advocates for Jesus. I can't make sense of that.
Yeah, like, I can totally respect people who want to believe in Jesus, but it's the preaching that this is the only way, and I can't believe you deny him, and all that. Because it's like, it should be just a personal thing. It does not have to be like, everybody has to have this, you know, because I just don't believe that's true. I think you can absolutely live a good, peaceful life without ever believing in Christ, but you can absolutely believe in Christ and everything that he taught and did, but you don't have to preach it to other people. I think that's the main thing. Like, we don't need to preach our views to other people. Let people choose what works for them.
Let people be happy where they are.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're, you know, if they're stepping on your toes, if they're making you feel like you have to shrink, then it's time to stand tall. And you can do that without being really angry. And you can do that without lashing out. You can do that without throwing things back in other people's faces and doing things just to piss people off and just to show them, ha ha ha, look what I can do. I'm going to do it in your face. Like, that's not being centered and being secure with who you are and what you are. So the enlightenment part of Mormon enlightenment, believe it or not, it's really, really important. It's really, really important. Enlightenment, it essentially means that you're becoming something better all the time. And that's our hope. Our hope is that we all in here are becoming better. With religion, without religion, with your new religion, with no matter what your political preference, we could potentially all becoming better. Becoming better. We could all be
becoming.
We could be becoming better. And that's what Crystal and I are really hoping for, is that we can set an example. It's so interesting. We used to think, well, we need to set an example as Mormons. We need to set an example that we're normal. We need to set an example that we're good, upstanding citizens, right? It's not so much about what other people see. It's really about what's on the inside. If you want to have true legitimate joy, if you want to have true legitimate fulfillment, if you want to have motivation, if you want to have, like centeredness, as they call it, if you want to get to a space that's really, really healthy and just amazing, you've got to start doing a lot of self-introspection, a lot of self-work. I think that's another thing where we fail as post-Mormons, a lot of people fail, is they stop working. It's like, oh, that was all bullshit. I had to work so hard in that. I'm not working anymore. And it's like, but really, if you want a better life, you've got to do self-work. You've got to, if you want to improve as a person, you've got to do personal development. If you want to grow beyond all of your insecurities and all your inadequacies, and you've got to do self-inventory, self-introspection. You have to take a long, hard look at yourself, how you operate, how you respond, how you react in all things. It's just an awareness, and be observant. Mm-hmm. That's enlightenment.
Yeah. Enlightenment
isn't just, I don't need religion. Enlightenment is, we don't need religion on this earth.
Or that we're better than anybody.
No.
Like, I would never want anyone to see that name as like, we are so much better than Mormons, because I just want it to be, I even think it could apply to Mormons. Like, let's all be enlightened together as post-Mormons, as Mormons. Like, let's just continue to grow and be aware. The awareness, yeah.
Yeah. It's the perfect word if you think about it.
Yeah.
I've never looked at it and I've never thought of it that way, that it could be perceived as like self-righteous. I've never thought really like I'm enlightened. I've never thought that, like I'm an enlightened person, because to me that would be a never-ending journey.
Right. You're never going to get to this place where you just arrive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hope this is helpful. This is where we are at in our progression. We want to be unifiers. Is the Mormon Church going away? I don't know. Does it really matter? Not really, because it's here and there's people in it, and there's people that really do love it. Mm-hmm. And are they lying? That's their business. Mm-hmm. But if they knew the truth, would they still love it? Maybe. It's crazy to think about, but maybe they'd still like it. They like the framework. They like the community. Some of you have admitted the hardest thing about leaving was you lost your community. So they got some things right. John DeLynn always talks about the things that they have right. They have a lot right. And then could we, as post-Mormons, could we potentially be what causes positive change in that framework moving forward? Well, we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do want to acknowledge the people who have done their Freedom Day posts. Like, every single one that I've read has been beautiful, respectful, and just simply sharing your own experience. And I think that's the best approach that we can go with moving forward, is to always express your beliefs in a way that comes from, this is my experience. And not like, this is the way it should be, this is right, this is wrong. It's like, no, this is my experience, this is how I felt, this is what I believed, this is what I thought, and this is how it affected me. And now I'm changing my beliefs, So I love, everybody's done such a beautiful job. It never has come across in an attacking way. You have all just simply shared your experience, and that's the best approach. That's the best way we can go about being a voice for change, and also, like Sean always says, like making it safe for people to leave if that's what they're feeling deep down inside. It's a scary thing to do, but when they know that other people are doing it and other people have gone before them, and they see that, okay, they're just fine, they've been out a few years, okay, their life hasn't fallen apart. It's like we can be that evidence, like, it's okay guys, it's safe, you can come and everything's gonna be just fine.
Yeah, we don't want to be that energy of tear down, tear down, tear down, tear down, because what happens, Crystal's always pointed this out to me, and it's the truth. When you bring that energy, that just makes those people that are in that space and in those beliefs, it actually charges them against you. It doesn't have the effect that you think it's having. Mm-hmm. It really doesn't. Anger, it's interesting. Look at something so simple as an argument. You could have someone that does something horrible to another person. You could have someone that carelessly, is in a store and carelessly throws their hands in the air and whacks another person in the face, right? And this can happen because whatever reason they whacked you in the face. Well, if the person that got hit responds in kind and screams bloody murder and becomes agitated and retaliates, and guess what? Everyone around them, guess what they perceive? They actually side with the person who's the least angry.
That's true. That's true.
And it's funny because as children, we learned that if I yell louder, sometimes I win. Or if I hit harder, sometimes that means I get the toy. But in real life, that is not true. People respect when you're calm, when you're collected, when you're centered, when you can't get rattled. They really respect that. Like in a debate, in an argument, if someone can actually remain calm and poised, collected, centered, confident, that's what people respect. And that person is going to make more of a difference. See? So with that in mind, we all just have to do a little bit of self-inventory.
Mm-hmm. Get to a place of peace before you go into any debate or conversation. Like,
right.
Make sure you're really truly centered so that your actions will be fueled by good positive
let's
emotions.
use an example around Mormonism. So for instance, if in the event that one of the neighbors showed up with an invitation for your daughter to attend some girls' thing,
mm-hmm.
Now you can receive the invitation and you can say, you can boil over. You can say, you sons of bitches, the lack of respect, the lack of boundaries. This is my child, for God's sakes. You're going to come and try to circumvent this family and get to my child. You can see it as that, but how you respond and how you choose to address that is everything. Mm-hmm. It's everything. Because if you respond by sending that person a nasty, scathing text message, and you respond by telling everyone, all your post-Mormon friends, this damn church is so invasive and they're so disrespectful, and and you're always going to find the feedback you're looking for, mm-hmm. whether you're right or wrong. Whether you're right or wrong, you'll find the feedback that you're looking for, the justification for your actions. You'll find it. Doesn't mean it's the best response. So I think if we can, and this is where Crystal and I have grown actually, is if that were to happen to us, we wouldn't be livid, we wouldn't go crazy, we wouldn't burn the invitation and publicly post about it. Like, we would just say, we would stand tall. We would actually probably reach back out to the person and say, hey, thoughtful of you, but moving forward, just know that our children won't participate in anything church related, and stand tall. Mm-hmm. Don't cower. Stand tall, but no need to go. Don't go ape shit. Don't.
Yeah.
Don't go batshit crazy. Don't go batshit crazy on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is all good because we need to learn that, we're living in this culture, a lot of us, and I hope a lot of you are still living in your ward boundaries. Why? Because we can make a difference. That's, for me, I think the greatest service we can offer the post-Mormon world is to stand tall, to not be belligerent, to not be crazy, to not go let that pendulum swing to the other side where you're just a whack and you're just a drug induced, sex-crazed maniac, but be your true, authentic self, what you really feel in your heart, get centered, and then set that example for all the Mormons around you so that they're like, these people they're cool. and they're chill, and we could invite them over and they won't show up drunk. And we could have our kids go to their house and they're not going to inundate our children with all kinds of anti-Mormon stuff. It doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah.
We're gonna all evolve and step into an amazing space, and I think that's the best thing that can happen on both sides. Mormons, what would you hope of them? What would you hope of Mormons?
Just more tolerance.
Yeah. And in order for them to do that, you've taught me this. How do we teach them to do that?
By doing it ourselves. We can't expect others to do what we're not willing to do.
That's right. So if President Nelson, if he posts something, or Uchtdorf says, "You sons of bitches, you motherfuckers."
You're quoting Uchtdorf?
"You fucking asshole, whiny crybabies, pack your
Sure,
bags
you said that before.
and run, bitches." Pack your bags and run, bitches. Okay, if Uchtdorf's going there, guess what you're going to do? You're going to be like, nah, no big deal. It's okay. I'm centered. I know who I am. And guess what? Not getting rattled, setting that tone, it's far more effective. Far more effective. Because if you come back with that son of a bitch was talking about me. He called me a teenager. He called me a runaway. You guys, I know what it does to you. It just supercharges you. I'm not saying that's what they mean to do, but your response is everything. In terms of moving forward, are we going to get to a better space? Are we going to evolve? Are we gonna get them to be more tolerant? Yeah, how? Show them tolerance. And they're gonna envy it. When they see how tolerant we are, how much love we actually possess, how much good we actually do, they can't argue with that. So do it for the right reasons. Do it because it's in your heart. Do it because you want to help other people. Do it because you want to grow yourself. That's where we are. I think we're in a place finally where it's like, do we want to grow because we want to make more money? No. Do we want to grow because we want to be perceived as something more than we are now? No. Do we want to grow because we just, we're like these Americans that are like, work hard. We got it. No, it's not. It's none of that. If anything, I want to work less, but I want to be a better person. Why? For my own sanity. That's it. For my own well-being.
And for our family, like for our kids, for our relationship, like it just all plays an important role.
Yeah.
In our own happiness.
Yeah. So tell them that in German.
Okay. That's a lot of pressure.
It's been a while. All right.
Ich liebe dich. I don't want to speak German because if there aren't any Germans out there or anyone who speaks really good German, I don't want to totally botch it and be like, act like I'm really good at German still when I am.
Say something in German really fast.
Okay. Hör auf mich herumzuhacken. Ich bin doch genauso gut wie die anderen, die ich jeden Sonntag in der Kirche sehe.
Wow.
I said that a lot on my mission as a joke. We were quoting one of the church videos.
Hör auf! Ich fix in Teigen, Duken, Backen, Schnicken, Teigen, Plocken.
Fuken.
Fuken. Fuken. Thanks, guys. Bye.